Hi guys, this is part 8 of the videos I've been doing, Memory Lane. The first video you're going to see, actually there's going to be 3 videos. They're all of abandoned house. Well, everything in this video is going to be abandoned houses, things that are abandoned. Anyway, the first video is of an abandoned house. It was taken in Pennsylvania last year when I went on my trip to Pennsylvania. Actually, I think it was basically Harrisburg. Anyway, I was, the whole reason I started this, this video is just, or videos rather, is just to kind of go down memory lane for me, mostly, and mostly when I was in my Ford Focus. That's kind of been my thing. Anyway, excuse me, I just got done eating. Today hasn't been a really good day. I haven't felt really good. I felt really bad today, and I was in the ER yesterday. I'm on medication. Anyway, I think the medication's not making me feel too good. Anyway, I just got through eating a snack. Anyway, last year was my trip to Pennsylvania. I was not in my Ford Focus. I was actually in my '06 Ford Taurus. And I've talked about it. It was at the dealership last year. It's been there for like 8 months. It's out now, but it was there for like 8 months. They couldn't seem to figure out what was going on. Anyway, now, it's at mine and my ex-husband's house. It's just sitting there. Wouldn't start, nothing. I went to pick the car up, wouldn't start anything. Anyway, he did get the battery charged and did get it started. I don't know if it's still doing the same thing it did last year. Probably, maybe, I don't know. They couldn't fix it. Anyway, so I was in my Taurus last year. That was my trip to Pennsylvania. The first video you're going to see is of an abandoned house. There was actually 3 right together that I took. It was down, I traveled US Highway 11, through Tennessee, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Went almost to New York, about 100 miles outside of, can't remember the name, somewhere in New York. I want to say Centralia, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, pretty sure that's not right. But anyway, something similar to that. Anyway, so this particular video, or the pictures rather, all predates my picture my videos. I only started taking videos a couple months ago, so I'm brand new to this. I mean, I've already done a few videos, but I'm pretty much brand new. Anyway, so the first video is of an abandoned house on the side of the road. It was US Highway. I was traveling on US Highway 11 when I found it. There's actually 3 of them. But this very first video is of an abandoned house. And everything, like I said in this video, is going to be of abandoned stuff or empty houses, old buildings, that kind of thing. Was all, or slideshow rather, was also taken in Pennsylvania. It's of an abandoned house. It's right next to the first house that I photographed, which is the first slideshow. Anyway, again, it was down US Highway 11, in Pennsylvania. I think I was on the south side. I think I had already went up to, Harrisburg and some other places I needed to go, and was on my way back. Anyway, this is the second old abandoned house right next to the first one. And both houses were right off of busy Highway 11. And Highway 11 in that area is a 4-lane highway. These next 3 videos were also taken in Virginia. I don't remember exactly where. I just remember they were in Virginia. they're kind of, basically, they're all basically the same. They're just a little bit different versions of the same property. One was a house, an abandoned house on the side of the road. The other one is an old barn. Anyway, so they're kind of like slightly different versions. Anyway, again, they were taken in Virginia. I'm not sure exactly where. Hi, the next slideshow is just some nature in Virginia. I know I promised at the beginning of this video that everything would be abandoned, but I kind of decided against that. I just kind of wanted to keep it all in Virginia. I went up to some of my other slideshows and I realized one slideshow was kind of, I don't know how I got it mixed up and out of order, but anyway, one slideshow is of an which is not in this video, but it's a slideshow of an abandoned house that's in South Carolina, somewhere near Winsboro or Lancaster, or somewhere in South Carolina. And then I've got a bunch that were taken down in Florida and at a different time. Anyway, so most of these slideshows were all taken in or around the same time, and that was last year, 2020, May 2020. And most of them were taken in Pennsylvania and Virginia. This slideshow is basically fields, nature in Virginia. Hi, this next video is of leaves, slideshow rather. Anyway, the Coke I drink is running through me, which is probably a good thing considering I have a urinary tract infection, although I read in the paperwork they gave me that caffeine is a no-no, irritates the bladder. Anyway, but I was really, really tired and I don't want to fall asleep too early. I want to go to sleep. I haven't been sleeping I've been sleeping enough, but not going to sleep early enough. And last night, I just have, like I said in another video, I have not felt good. I forgot to put my pillow under my head, so I woke up, obviously, with my neck hurting. I'm just not doing that great today. But anyway, so leaves. I love leaves. That's a really cool thing. Anyway, also, I'm in the process of doing 2 videos right now. I'm doing this one, the memory, all my prior pictures, memories. And then I'm also doing another video, what I do in my car all day. So I'm kind of doing both. Anyway, leaves. I love leaves. Hi, this next video slideshow is more leaves. The last video, of course, was green leaves, and this one's going to be more colorful leaves. Again, I'm really into all the leaves. I love to take pictures of plants, leaves, nature, abandoned houses. I love to photograph abandoned houses, but I like to photograph them only when no one's around, or they're not too close to other neighbors, because I really don't like to be bothered. And I have been, over the years, I've been photographing abandoned houses and things of that nature for over 10 years, since 2009. So it's been like 12 years now. And over the years, I've encountered a lot of times where people will, can I help you, and And then when you ask them, you know, hey, oh, you know, I'm interested in this property. What are you asking for it? I mean, you know, because you assume that if they come up and ask you if they can help you, that it's their property. And I don't know, you know, it may be their property. And I think only on one occasion did the man say, yeah, it's my property and you know, it's not for sale. It's, you know, it's my property and it's not for sale. Every other time, the people would say, oh, no, it's not my property. I have no idea what he's at. You know, I don't know if it's even for sale. I don't know. But can I help you? And I'm like, okay, well, you know, then what's the owner asking for it? Oh, I don't know. I just look out for the property. And this happened one time. My ex-husband said, well, that roof's about to fall in. If you're taking care of the property for him, it looks like you need to get up there and fix that roof. Anyway, so that's some of the things I encounter when I'm taking pictures of abandoned houses. I really like to get out, snap the photos, and just get back in my car and leave before anyone has a chance to really bother me. And because I have been bothered a number of times over the years. Most of the people are okay, bothersome, but I have encountered a few that are really, really nasty and just very, very nasty. In fact, I might talk about that later, more later. I mean, but I have encountered some of that. So that's one reason I don't do the video of the property either, especially if, you know, and I do like to sneak into the properties if I can get away with it. But again, that's another, I've seen people that are doing the videos, but me, I'm not brave enough to do that. I can take photographs a lot quicker and, you know, be in and out of the property a lot quicker. Also, I'm not going to walk around property and video property, especially if it says no trespassing, because I can stand at the road most of the time and take pictures, zoom, you know, with my Zoom or whatever, and get a decent photograph. So that's one reason I'm not going to stand out there and do video, because if it says no trespassing, 9 times out of 10, a lot of times the people don't live that far away. And in all these little small towns, it's like someone passes and it's like one phone call to the owner and they're there in like 5 minutes. So anyway, that's my story on on the abandoned houses. Anyway, again, all the nature and everything is through, and this was probably in Virginia someplace, but anyway, it's all through Pennsylvania and Virginia. Okay, here's a flower. Red rose, I believe. Anyway, I may be wrong. I'm not that great with plants. Anyway, if I'm not, people are going to think I'm a complete idiot. Anyway, I kind of am when it comes to flowers and plants, but I do love to photograph them. I don't really look them up that much. Anyway, again, flowers. Anyway, as I was saying before, I like to get in and out. You know, if I'm photographing an abandoned property or an abandoned house, I like to do it fairly quickly and leave the area, because I have, as I've said, encountered some people that are not very nice over the years. And on one occasion I encountered someone who seemed really creepy, and he wasn't like not nice, like, you know, you need to leave, and nothing like that. And I was at the road. I was on the road. And the place I was parked at, I think, was an abandoned gas station, which was not his. So, but some people get really iffy if they think you're photographing their property. I don't know why. You can be photographing a leaf, a flower, and they still get iffy about it. I have had people get angry at me because I'm photographing trees or nature or plants across the street from their property. I've had them get iffy. I had one such person in Newberry, South Carolina, and I will never forget that. That was just a horrible experience. Anyway, I will be back with the next video and tell you a little bit more about that. Hi, this next slideshow was taken in Tennessee, so I didn't lie, but I thought most of the videos or slideshows would be in Virginia and Pennsylvania. Obviously, some have crossed over into Tennessee. Anyway, so again, I was going up US Highway 11 when I took all these photographs. Oh, my eyes are burning. Anyway, they weren't burning till I put the sunglasses on. That's insane. Anyway, but anyhow, Newberry, South Carolina, as I promised in the last little short video I did. Anyway, Newberry, South Carolina. This has been many, many years ago. This has probably been 7, 8, maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember the exact time, but it's been a while, many years. I was in Newberry, South Carolina, and I found an old abandoned building. I didn't even know what it was. It was just an old abandoned building. And I could tell it had been a business at some point, but I didn't know what kind. So I got out of my car. There was plenty of parking, so I got out of my car. I photographed the building. It was wide open. I don't even think there were any doors, or the doors were torn off the hinges. So I walked in and I walked around and I took some photographs. And then I came out and maybe photographed it a little bit more, photographed the property a little bit, and then I proceeded to take pictures of the nature, like the plants and trees across the street and some sky photos, you know. Anyway, it was out in the middle of nowhere. Well, this lady shows up, demands to know what I'm doing, demands to know, very, very nasty woman, just extremely nasty woman. Anyway, she demands to know what I'm doing, what I'm photographing. I tell her I'm photographing the nature. Why? She wants to know. I tell her, you know, from my blog, whatever. I mean, I was truthful. I didn't, you know, and I did put a lot of the stuff on my blog. What's the name of your blog? What newspaper do you work for? Are you a journalist? I mean, just a very, very, you know, and she was not nice at all. She was very nasty. And, you know, and I want to know who your boss is. You know, who do you work for? What's your boss's name? I want your boss's phone number. I want your boss's address. And I'm like, I work for myself. Well, okay, well, I want to, you know, and just demanded it. I mean, just a very, very nasty woman. Well, she was very, very nasty to me. I mean, she was not nice, you know, and I mean, when she pulled up, and she informed me that it was her property, and that was fine. I was like, okay, but, you know, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't hurting anything. My car was parked there. That was it. And when she drove up, I was photographing the property across the street, which if I remember correctly, she informed me that was not her property. Anyhow, she just proceeded to try to grill me, you know, and then finally I think I just got, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I have somewhere I gotta go. I gotta go. Well, I want to know your phone number. I want to know where you live. Where do you live? You know, she demanded to know where I live. She demanded to know my address. I mean, just, you know, demanded to know my personal information. Was just a very, you know, very, not a nice person, a very, very, very hateful, nasty woman. Anyway, so I left there, and as you can well imagine, that day, she ruined my day. I felt the rest of the day, I was just in a bad mood. I felt bad. I was, angry about the whole situation. I mean, because I wasn't doing anything. I was photographing. Yes, I photographed the building, but I mean, it was abandoned. No one was there. And there was really no call for her to be the way she was, you know, there was no call for her to be that nasty. So anyhow, I was in a bad, foul mood the rest of the day, very negative, just was not in a good mood the rest of the day. Well, when I got home, you know, after I got home, and I continued to think about that. I mean, I left and, you know, went home, and I had about a 2-hour drive. I don't even know if I returned home that day. I probably didn't. I probably had some business or work or something to take care of. But anyway, I continued to think about this every day. I thought about it the next day, the day after that. I got home and I thought about it. And I mean, it really irked me. So I wondered why she was so hateful and so nasty, you know, and of course I just put it down. I think my ex-husband at that time was my husband at that time, was like, oh, some people are that way. They're just nasty and hateful people. And I said, yeah, you're right, but still, anyway. So out of curiosity, I'm still a little full, so I'm breathing. So anyway, so out of curiosity, I called Newberry County, South Carolina, and to get some information, you know, about the property, you know. And of course I called up and I wanted to know who the owner was. I was curious. So when I called, of course you know, to get information, I didn't really care who the owner was. I really didn't, but I wanted more information on the building. So, excuse me, I'm a little tired. I asked who the owner was, and then I proceeded to ask, you know, what kind of building was it? What kind of business was it? Or did they know? She informed, the lady at the Newberry County informed me that it was, or had been many years earlier, a gas station. So it was an old abandoned gas station. From just looking at the building, I would have never known that, because the gas pumps had been completely removed. Any remnants of what had been a gas station at some point had been completely removed. But she informed me it had been a gas station, I guess, in a small convenience store many years earlier, many years earlier, like probably 40 years earlier. Anyhow, and the woman obviously was the heir to the property. Must have been her dad. Anyway. And so you know, and she told me a little bit more about the property and told me that it was zoned agricultural. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? And the lady at the county office says, well, crops, livestock, you know, for it to be zoned agricultural, you have to have crops or livestock. At that point, I was like, crops and livestock? There's no crops or livestock on this property. And there hasn't been any crops or livestock for, I'd say, many years. And I can say that because there was no, it did not look like there'd been any livestock in a long time. There was no fencing around the property, so there couldn't have been any livestock because, I mean, you know, South Carolina is not open range. You can't, I don't know if there's a rule or law against it, but every cow pasture I've seen has fencing around it. Anyway, so I informed the lady at the county office, you know, there was no crops, no livestock, there was no chickens, no cows, no, you know, nothing like that. And there definitely wasn't. There hadn't been in a long time. There was no fencing on the property. There was no remnants of fencing on the property. At that point, the lady became way more interested, and she says, okay, when were you out there, you know? And I said, oh, just a couple days ago, you know, 2-3 days ago. At that point, the woman was like, oh, I need to turn this into, I don't know, whoever handles, I guess, zoning, or whoever, you know, is ahead, you know, above it. I'm not really sure. I can't remember the office, but she said, I've got to turn this into someone or another to go out there and inspect the property, because the only way that they can get an agricultural definition or zoned agricultural is to have crops and livestock. And if they have no crops or livestock, then they can't get that designation. Anyway, and I also found out that by having an agricultural designation, she paid almost nothing in property taxes compared to if it were zoned as just residential or personal use, residential, rather than agricultural or farmland. She would have paid a lot more in taxes. So I got off the phone with the lady at the county office, and I proceeded to do a little bit more digging, and I think I may have called back to ask her something else. I also found out that not only had she not told the county that she no longer had cows or livestock or crops, she had, and there had been no crops. If it was at one point had crops, it had not had crops in many years. Not only did she not tell the county that she had no crops or livestock, she had also received a very large, some kind of I'm not sure, a monetary compensation. She had also received a large monetary compensation for agricultural loss. And I was like, how could she receive agricultural loss when there's not any livestock out there and there's no crops? And there hadn't been crops, at least certainly in a year. It'd probably been years. Needless to say, by the time I got through talking to the woman, and I really didn't, and I did not mean, I was not intent on trying to cause trouble for the woman, but I did want to know why she was so I did wonder about the property, and why she was so nasty, and I was curious as to what had been there, and that's what started the whole conversation. Needless to say, she probably ended up on some people's radars, but maybe not. But I know that the county woman was very interested and told me that she was going to send somebody out there to inspect the property. Now, whether she got into trouble for this, I don't know. What I do know is that if she'd kept her mouth shut and not been so nasty to me, I would have never called the zoning board. I would have never called the county office. I would have never requested any information about the property. Nothing. I would have photographed it and went on my way and found something else to photograph. Instead, she was so nasty to me and left me with such a bad feeling and left me feeling so bad and so negative that's what prompted me to actually call the county office. Had she have not done that, I would have never given it a second thought. Anyway, so I guess, that's just a word of the wise, before getting negative and hateful and nasty with someone, pay attention. Think about think about it before you do it, because, you might end up, opening up a can of worms when you didn't mean to, and, when you don't want to do it, and, and don't have to do it. So anyway, hi guys, this next slideshow is nature, sky photos, overlap with trees in the sky. Anyway, another little memory. One time I was in North Carolina, and it was Wake County. I believe I remember it saying Wake County, so I'm not sure exactly what town it was. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but I do remember Wake County because I photographed the sign for whatever reason. I did that, I don't know. But anyway, in that particular instance, it was another similar situation to the one in Newberry, South Carolina. Only this one, I was taking some pictures of some property, or just taking pictures of the trees and nature, really. Well, not the property, just of the trees and the leaves and things of that nature. And a man drove by me, and as soon as he drove by me, I remember he was in a Cadillac, and then he put the car in reverse, and he backed up so he could see. And at that point, I knew, okay, I must be photographing someone's property, and he's looking to see what the heck I'm doing. Anyway, he pulled his car down the road, or it was just up the way from the property, got out of his vehicle, came towards me. He didn't have a nasty vibe or anything like that, or like I needed to get out of there, nothing like that. He was, moving at a fairly good pace, but it was relaxed. His body was relaxed. He didn't seem like he was in an angry mood, anything like that. So he comes up to me and he wants to know what I'm doing, and I tell him, I stopped to photograph that sign, which had done, and I was taking pictures of the sky and the nature. Anyway, he stood there and he kind of eyed me, and then he asked me some questions, like, is this like, what do you do this for? Is it personal use or whatever? And I told him, yeah, it was. I didn't say anything about a blog this time, but I just said, yeah, personal use. Sometimes I like to make scrapbooks, just a little fib. But anyway, and he asked me one or two more questions, where I live, and I told him, and I was a long way from where I actually lived. And he seemed satisfied with those answers. And I just told him, I like to photograph nature, and I'm an amateur photographer. I like to photograph nature and the sky and pictures and whatever. And he seemed, he was asking questions, but he was very laid back about it. He was relaxed about it. He was pointed with the questions, but he was not nasty, and I think he was just trying to figure out if I was telling the truth or not telling the truth. But he wasn't like the first woman. he didn't just storm up there and decide to open up a hornet's nest. You know, take a big stick and start popping the hornet's nest. He did not do that. He, or as the old saying goes, let sleeping dogs lie. He asked his questions, but he seemed satisfied, and he opted not to, stir the pot, if you will. He just accepted my answers, and then he left. And he did continue. He kind of was down there, and he was kind of watching, but, you know, and I didn't immediately, you know, leave like I was, you know, like, oh God, he caught me, you know, he caught me doing something wrong, you know, nothing like that. I just continued to take pictures, and I took a few pictures of leaves, and back then I was using my SLR camera, so, and I was standing pretty close to the leaves, pretty close to the plants, and I had the lens, I had it zoomed all the way out, so, you know, I mean, you know, I was pretty close, not real close, but pretty close. And I mean, I didn't want to be stepping on his property or anyone else's property. And I had my camera zoomed all the way out so he could tell, you know, I was indeed zooming in on the plants. And I took a few pictures, and then I left. And that experience was stuck in my mind, but it stuck in my mind because of the stark contrast between the first nasty woman I had dealt with and this gentleman that I dealt with. He was not nasty. He was not hateful. He asked questions. He wanted to know what I was doing. Yeah, I mean, because obviously I was photographing the trees that happened to be on his property. But rather than get nasty with me, he let it go. He was smart about it, and that's why it stuck in my mind. He decided to just accept my explanation and let it go. So that's why that instance stuck in my mind. Hi, this next little slideshow is of a flower. I think it's a flower. I'm not sure if it's a flower or a weed. Anyway, probably in Tennessee. I honestly don't remember. All the videos and the pictures right around this time were in Tennessee, so probably somewhere in Tennessee. Doesn't really matter. Again, just a flower weed. No stories really to share on this one. Just that, just to follow up, there was a very stark contrast with the second person I dealt with. So that's why it stood out in my mind. It stood out in my mind because he handled it so much differently. He handled it so much better. And I didn't walk away with, you know, a desire to go call the county and find out, well, what's that property? Who's it belong to? What, you know, what is there? There wasn't a building on his property, but, you know, ask questions. The first one, I kind of wanted to know what the building was, and then that just kind of opened up that whole can of worms, and that could have all been avoided. She'd have just kept her mouth shut. I wouldn't have walked away feeling so bad and so angry all day, and I wouldn't have called and asked questions. So anyway, the next video, just a little flower. Hi, this next slideshow were pictures taken at a dam in Tennessee, most likely Cherokee Dam. I don't remember exactly which one offhand, but most likely the Cherokee Dam. Hi, this next slideshow is just various nature in Tennessee, just out in the middle of nowhere, kind of, basically, a tree and some, again, sky and trees and whatnot that I like to overlap. Taken last year during my trip. I think it was taken last year. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it was taken last year during my trip to Tennessee. I mean, not Tennessee, Pennsylvania on my way back, most likely. I was going down US Highway 11. Now, this particular area, I'm not exactly sure where it was taken because I branched off in Tennessee and took a couple of different routes. Anyway, I also took 25. I also took 25 as well, US Highway 25, through Tennessee. That's a very nice drive. Anyway, so I was taking either on US Highway, off of US Highway 11 or US Highway 25. I know in an earlier video I had some pictures. I had taken some near somewhere toward Tazewell or Morristown, probably toward Morristown. Photograph of an old house that was actually taken near Morganton, North Carolina, at the site of the Hunger Games. There is the site, the Hunger Games movie, part of the Hunger Games movie, or at least I think it was District 13, was filmed at an area near Morganton, North Carolina. And I have some other videos, slideshows, ton of photographs I took at the Hunger Game, or the Hunger Games site. And this was taken, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Anyway, I was in my Ford Focus. I remember that. It was a rainy day, kind of cold. I don't remember the month, don't remember any of that, but I do remember it was kind of a little bit rainy, a little bit cold. And I happened to find it, and it was just such an amazing find. I didn't know if I could get back to it. So I decided, and I just stumbled into it by accident. So I decided to take a ton of photographs, and I did. Anyway, and this is, I guess, one of the pictures that didn't make it into my slideshows or whatever. So I just left it and decided, I'll include it in one of my videos. So here it is, just a picture. It's just one photograph of an old house that is part of the District 13 Hunger Games. Anyway, this is the last of this is going to conclude my video for the day. It ended up being longer than I wanted it to be. I know it's probably going to be about 35 minutes maybe, or 40, because I included, a couple of those little stories, which I haven't done in the past. And on any of my past videos, I've just, the memory videos, I've just kind of just said, okay, here's the leaves, here's the trees, here's where the house was photographed. And I haven't really went into any detail about, any details about any of my stories or anything, any of my myriad of probably hundreds of stories I've accumulated over the years. But on this one I did. Anyway, it's getting late. It's probably about 7:30 now, a little past 7:30, and it's going to get dark soon. That Coke I drank is kind of running through me. I'm also doing another video as well. The other video, which will probably be out before this one. At least I'm hoping it will be. Anyway, it's the video what I do in my car all day. And I'm feeling a little bit better now, so I'm glad about that. And I'm also going to probably walk. I'm getting ready to wrap my day up. I've got some food I need to organize. Get back to the other video, finish that up. That's my main thing right now. I'm going to conclude this, edit, put it together. Then I'm going to go to my other video. First, I'm going to organize my car, go to the other video, head back in Walmart, maybe get me a few carrots, head over to the convenience store, which is part of Walmart, maybe get me some Powerade. I got orange last night, and it was the sugared kind, not the zero kind, and I didn't really care for it that much. I used to love it, but I don't anymore. Anyway, so I'm concluding this video. This is the end of this video, and then I'm going to try to finish the other one, because I'm kind of, for whatever reason, I decided to do 2 at the same time, which is kind of insanity, maybe, but anyway, I did it. So anyway, this is going to conclude this video for today. It ended up not being abandoned houses, all abandoned houses, just the first 2 or 3. But I noticed I have a lot for Florida, and I just have so many. I mean, I have like a ton that I did in Florida. I have hundreds and thousands of pictures that I've accumulated over the years of abandoned houses, abandoned buildings, abandoned places, old cars. I just have tons. And of course I haven't, you know, I don't still have all those stored on my phone. I have to take them out of the cloud or whatever. And when I download them again, they don't come in the same, they come in the same format, but not the same resolution. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about today. I'm getting ready to conclude my night. God bless. This is the end of the day for me. Anyway, God bless. Peace.